And getting ready for the hooter. There it is. There are the teams. A lot of changes in the Great Britain side, with people like Gerald Cordell and Graham Stedman, Carl Fairbank, Carl Gibson getting their first international caps. Sean Edwards, a big load of responsibility as captain today, Alex.
Yes, he is, and he's got a lot of responsibility. I would have been like to see him playing at number 6. I don't believe as a scrum half, but also in the French side, David Fresh at full-back. They have changed the side out. He's a very, very good attacking player, and I think the French have come here today for one thing, and that is a victory.
Yes, Fresh coming in for Pugo, who is injured, but otherwise no change. Dennis Bien takes Fresh's place in the centre. The referee yet again, Jim Stokes, despite the fact that the French after the first game didn't want him. The Rugby League insisted, and Mr. Stokes takes charge yet again, Monsieur Labide. Fine, but cold afternoon again here at Headingley, and we're ready for the kick-off. France looking for a win, and under Jacques Jourda, a fine, inspiring, driving coach, they're not beyond doing it.
No, I have said about this French side, discipline has improved tremendously, and I think this is one of the best French side we've seen for a long, long time.
They could win. The kick-off drops to number 11, Dennis Betts. On the Great Britain side, and the Great Britain forwards through Keith England, trying to break out. An important afternoon for both sides. Great Britain striving to build a platform for the New Zealand tour, and Malcolm Reilly looking for players to add to his squad, which he'll name, but Wigan. But Alex, it's up to the French to show the form they showed at Perpignan.
Well, like I say, Keith, I'm very impressed with the French side, and I think it's Great Britain who've got a lot to prove here today. I think it's going to be an exciting game, and I think we're going to see some very, very attractive running rugby.
With hopefully a lot of good tries, but tensions may rise and spoil that, but certainly plenty to play for on both sides. The revival of French rugby, the maintenance of the momentum of British rugby. And there's a penalty by Jim Stokes. Well, we were giving him stick for not being too kind to the French in the first match of Perpignan. Jim Stokes, penalty for offside, gives them a chance to clear the line.
Yeah, one good thing about this fella, Keith, Jim Stokes, he's very, very consistent. He doesn't stand any messing. He plays to the laws of the game for the full 80 minutes. And I think if he does that, nobody can complain.
That's a scrum, a knock on, and we had a ball to France. That was unfortunate. Gilles Dumas' kick didn't find touch, but it was knocked on by Carl Gibson.
Yes, but it still gives them the put-in, so really, France, head and ball, they should be come out with this.
Lots of new caps in that side as France. Healit, the halfbacks Dumas and Ontar, setting up a bridgehead. There's a little man that calls the shots, Gilles Dumas of Saint-Gaudens. The first French attack. And would that be a penalty? Oh, that could well be a penalty to France. It's got to be. He really took the ball off him then.
Yes, I don't think there's any argument about that, and I think Mr. Stokes definitely, you know, he's indicating that he was snatched out of his hands. But there is a problem here, Keith. Dumas, he's not the best goal kicker in the world, and France have had a problem kicking goals.
Well, Dumas and Fresh both missed vital ones in that first test, which could have... That's the Great Britain bench, Dr. Forbes Mackenzie, Malcolm Reilly. Dumas wondering whether to take it himself.
Well, I think he's going to kick at goal, there's no doubt about that. He's waiting for the customary pile of sand now, which is all over the world. And I think Mr. Stokes is having a word here and saying, listen, let me referee the game, and you fellas get on with playing rugby.
Talking about the pile of sand, Alec, you and I go back far enough to remember when people like David Watkins and Bernard Ganley didn't need that sort of thing.
No, I think we're spoiling the lads these days. You know, everything they want, home comfort, sands, buckets and spades, you name it, they've got it.
Dumas with a chance to put France in a morale-boosting 2-point lead. Kicks. Oh dear. Well, that's a repeat of Perpignan.
Well, I did say that they've had a problem with the goal kicking, and Dumas, that was a very, very bad miss. That was just about 30 yards out, straight in front, and France are going to have to kick goals like that if they ought to win this match.
David Fress Well, France have started in lively mode. Their problem has always been on English soil that they've not shown the spirit they've shown at home, and they've rapidly gone by. Now it's a lost possession. Carl Gibson definitely has it this time.
Yeah, I think he's made up for the mistake he made earlier, and it's interesting to see. But there you see, you have Mr. Stokes again, Keith. He definitely wants the players 5-6 metres back, and he's going to play this rule all through the match. One thing about this guy, he's dead strict.
And I think this will be an opportunity for Steadman to get his first full international points, and also to rub Gilles Dumas' nose in the dirt a bit.
Yes, and it's a similar position, isn't it? Identical penalties, one for France, which Dumas missed, and Steadman, who's normally a very, very good kicker of a ball, taking over from Paul Loughlin today, who's injured. And it'll be interesting for this lad, because this is his first test match, 28 years of age, and he'll be happy to put some points on the board.
Oh, he will. Very unlucky early this season, got a terrible injury at Whitehaven from a high tackle, but he's come back well. Here's his chance to put England there 2-0. There's the kick, there's how easy it is. Well, why couldn't Dumas do that? So, good psychological blow, and Graham Steadman very happy. I sat next to Graham Steadman at the British Code dinner after the test, Alex, and he wanted to play in this match. He was dying to play in it.
Well, he's a very, very good player, and it's interesting to see Steadman there. It's cost Castleford £25,000 for that lad to play, because that was written in his contract, and that must be the expensive international match ever been played.
That's
Malcolm
right.
Reed is looking happy, isn't he?
Worrying a bit. So with time going back on those Jim Stokes decisions, there is a theory that's long been in rugby league that referees like to establish their authority with a penalty each side in the stages.
I think he's a good referee, this fella. He plays to the laws of the game, and I don't think you can ask any further than that.
And it's Sean Edwards captaining the side and playing scrum half instead of his normal standoff, although as a schoolboy he was a scrum half.
Yes, and I think a lot of people would like to see Sean doing a little bit more running than what he has been doing in recent matches. He's a very, very quick lad. If there's any breaks, I'm sure he'll be there today.
Great Britain leading by 2 points. Oh, that's lost possession! If Jim Stokes isn't letting that go, otherwise that could have been very, very dangerous, because Fress lost possession then to Carl Fairbank.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Keith, and I just can't believe that Jim Stokes has penalised Carl Fairbank for that, because what the rule says is, as long as a man is on his feet, you can take the ball. The referee must shout held, and I don't think Jim Stokes had shouted held by any means.
So a bit of luck for the French there as they get a penalty. Great Britain 2, France 0. That penalty goal by Steadman. Now France just inside the British half. That's the hooker, Thierry Valero. Can they produce some of the excellent football they showed at Perpignan? Loose forward Jacques Mollinet. The 2 second row men were outstanding, Cabestany and Divet. That's Onta. Nice kick.
And I think this was a facet of the French game. Patrick Onta, who he's had a great series, hasn't he, Keith, in the French games?
Yes.
He's a good little player, busy little bee, this lad, got a good kicking game, and he's brought a little bit of different dimension to the French game.
A good half-back pairing with Gilles Dumas, who's a scrum half himself. It's coming out with head and ball to Gregory on the Great Britain side. 2-0 to Great Britain. Penalty by Steadman. And Gregory getting up to play the ball to Dennis Betts around the Great Britain 22-metre line. There's this strong man. There's another penalty. That's Keith England. Mr. Stokes not having any messing at all, determined to diffuse any foul play or potential foul play right at the start.
Well, like we say, Keith, there's one good thing about Jim Stokes. He's not frightened of blowing the whistle, and if he thinks it's a penalty, he'll give a penalty.
And it's an opportunity now to Great Britain to show their attacking skills. They've played that very quickly. They're deep inside the French half. Edwards. And that flies out of his grasp, so France have it if they can hang on to it. That's one of the replacements. There's Jacques Jourdain. It's Biennes who picked it up.
He's brought a little bit of a lot of discipline to the French game, Keith, isn't he? You know, there was a little bit airy-fairy when they first started, but discipline, and they've got the game together, and they're playing well as an international team now.
Indeed, he's a very ambitious man, a very strong man, very persuasive man, got a voice, gravelly voice, like one of those old-time. Oh, that's Andy Devine. I was trying to think that Phil Mack had a voice like gravel. Actually, Jordan, but now it's France with Molyneux. The kick ahead by Onta. Anybody's ball. It's picked up by Great Britain. They have possession. They have a 2-point lead. That's Carl Gibson, and coming in from the right, Gerald Cordle, in fact. Gerald Cordle, his first run of the game.
Yes, I think that'll be nice to see. I think he'll be expecting big things today. He's very, very quick, and here's the other fellow who's exceptionally quick, Martin Offiah.
Yes, the leading try scorer. Cordle has 26 this season, which isn't bad for a first season.
No, he's just come back, like I say, he's a signed professional from Wales, and he's made a big impact in the game. We've got two very, very good wingmen at the moment.
That's good running, and here's Martin Offiah. Inside to Alan Tate, his witness colleague. Great Britain swinging into attack now. Offiah, Sean Edwards the kick. It looked to me as if Scofie was yards offside. I think Gary Scofie might have been a bit in front there.
Well, he's fair, and it looks like Dumas has got a bad action.
Yes,
that is a dangerous
hand.
thing, you know, with these cameramen, Keith. You know, he's sat down there, and that could be very, very serious. And if that is, I don't think Dumas will be too pleased about that. He must have run into the camera.
He's in pain, saying the French equivalent of "come on."
Well, I think what he's actually saying is this cameraman shouldn't be here, and he's gone full blank into him.
He's cracked his left wrist on the camera, or the cameraman.
I think there is a case for these cameramen to, you know, I know they've got to get pictures, but they've got to, if they want to get on the field, I think they've got to get a jersey on.
And it's Gilles Dumas who has a wrist problem. He's having it strapped up. I think we're going to see Gilles Dumas back in action. And a penalty to Great Britain. Not letting him play the ball.
And these are silly penalties, aren't they, Keith? These are penalties which, you know, giving points away, because this is another kickable penalty. And Stedman, very, very good goal kicker. Another 2 points could go on the board for a silly penalty.
Yes, France playing with plenty of spirit, but just a little too much. There's Guy Delaunay, who was penalised. Gilles Dumas with the strapping on his wrist now.
I hope that's on his drinking hand, Keith. He looks as though he's got over his little knock, but it was a very, very dangerous position for a cameraman to be in.
There's the position as Stedman sees it. Graham Stedman, slightly to the left of the post, but well within his range. Well, even Stedman can miss them. A let-off for the French.
Yeah, well, and I think you saw what he said then, Graham Stedman. He said to his mate, sorry. I think goal kicking's one of them things where if you kick them, you're everybody's mate. If you miss them, nobody likes you.
Yes, indeed. That could have been 4-0, but then ifs and buts don't come into it at all. We'd had an earlier miss by Dumas. That's Schofield. Oh, bad mistake that by Keith England. He should have taken that pass. Now it's France trying. France a little slow to get their attacking game together. They've started tackling from the start. That's Kabastani. Oh, that's a nice long pass. Chancey, and that's in front of Hugh Gratier, and kicked into touch by Guy Delaunay. A bit of sloppy handling that.
Yes, I think also that Malcolm Reilly, I was talking to him in France, and he said he wasn't too happy about the attacking play of the Great Britain lads. We've got people like Offiah and Cordle on the wings and not really giving them enough running chances.
That's Sean Edwards, the man with a big load of responsibility today, taking over the captaincy from his Wigan teammate Ellery Hanley, in preference to Mike Gregory, who captained the team in the New Zealand Test. I don't think Gregory was too happy about that, Alan.
No, I think he was a little bit disappointed, and I can't understand why it's happened. I mean, Gregory took over from New Zealand, and we won the series, and then he's been demoted. Now, he must be the only fella who's won a series and got demoted.
Mike Gregory, the man we were just talking about. Bit scrappy at the moment. Plenty of endeavour by both sides, but no flowing movement as yet. So Edwards kicks. This time I think everybody looked onside, certainly from this camera position. Well, it's a bit of butterfingers by Fress. Bit of a nervy opening for him. And he's going touchdown. He could be thrown into touch, and what if he goes into touch? He's wasted the first tackle.
Yeah, but one nice thing about this David Fresh is he's got pace, and that was a nice little run from him. You know, he went 30-40 yards. I think if you get this fella into the clear, there's not many on either side can run as fast as this kid.
Well, a good ground gainer, even though it's headed ball to Great Britain, and Edwards gets it out quickly. Steadman, very fast when he's on the move. Well, the French defender's a little slow getting up. Mike Gregory, Carl Gibson. That's strong running by Carl Gibson. He's not normally renowned for it. He's certainly very quick, but doesn't often crash men off.
No, he's put into the centre position. He's been playing on the wing for Leeds, and obviously he's got that bit of pace, and Malcolm really obviously is picking players who he knows.
That's right. Carl Gibson played a lot of his career with Batley in the centre, so he's quite used to it. That's Edwards. Martin afire. The fastest man in the British game. Still going. Takes a clout on the back of the head. So it's just 8 metres away from the French line. Afire. Beardmore to Edwards. Edwards misses out 2 men. The short ball gets it back. That was a lucky bounce, that was. But what a good tackle on Steadman. Steadman crashed to earth. An excellent tackle. But the pressure's still on. Schofield. And right through goes Tate. And Alan Tate. Well, was that a forward pass? Mr. Stokes thinks so.
Well, I don't think Alan Tate is too disappointed neither. I think you always look at the player when the referee was right on the spot. I don't think there was any problem. It was a forward pass, but Alan Tate obviously wasn't taking any chances. You can see here now. Watch the short ball. Gary Schofield whips through. Here comes Tate. Well, it did look straight, and a straight pass is forward, but you know, Alan Tate wasn't going to stop. He was going to make sure until he heard the referee's whistle.
Well, certainly it wasn't a lot forward, but you've made the point, Alec. Alan Tate did it without demur. Good to see a professional do that.
Yes, and it's obviously he agrees with the referee. Obviously disappointed not got to try, but we have Great Britain now giving him a lot of pressure in this position, Keith.
Now they're dropping the ball a lot, the French. That's Keith England now. Beardmore. Betts struggling towards the posts. Sean Edwards trying to go himself and wriggle through. The French will do well to survive this one. Beardmore to Gregory, straightening up, and he loses possession. Now, surely he's offside. Well, he's giving the knock on first.
I would like to see Great Britain throw the ball about a little bit more. I think at times we do make too much use of our forwards. We've got absolute flying machines on the outside in the Fire and the Caudle, and they've not had one running chance yet.
And there's the story. France have been doing most of the tackling.
And it looks as though little Dumas was well in contention there with the tackling.
Even with the wrist strapped up. France inside their own 22-metre area being bounced down, and they've lost possession in this situation several times already. Honta to Dumas. Feed a party with that. In fact, he tried to, Alec. That was a suicide pass.
Yeah, I don't think you can be putting balls out there in your own 25, and that's put them under a little bit of pressure.
Edwards, Gibson took it well. A fire had gone inside. It's all Great Britain at the moment. Surely the French line will crack soon. A fire. Edwards, Betts. Beardmore. Edwards floats out the long one to Steadman, to Schofield. Caudle, can Gerald Caudle get his first try? What a wonderful start to an international career, Alex, but there were at least 4 men might have got across and knocked him into touch.
He showed a magnificent turn of pace, Gerald Caudle. It was a beautiful ball off Schofield, well timed, and didn't he finish it well? There's no problem, he'll be pleased about that. As we see here, a quick pair of hands from Kevin Beardsmore. The ball is spun across, a beautiful 30-yard pass by Sean Edwards. Now this is the ball. Steadman, no problem there. Gary Schofield. Watch Caudle fly onto this. He has to score this try. He's a big, strong lad and he can run. He flies past Pons. That is a very, very good start for young Caudle.
Indeed, but perhaps one or two questions might be asked about Cyril Pons' defence on this, and this all began when Dumas threw out that silly pass in his own 22-metre area.
But have a look at Caudle, Keith. He still had to score the try, and he's a very strong lad, and, you know, maybe Pons couldn't get near him.
Yes, you've always got to look at the attacker. Well, he's a big lad, isn't he? Ex-Cardiff Rugby Union, left Wales because he couldn't get a Welsh Rugby Union cap.
He did, and they had a, you know, it'd be interesting to see whether Steadman can do a little bit better with this goal kick. You know, it's on his right side. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't kick this.
Left-footed kicker, the ball will curl in naturally to the post, but he misses. So 6-0, and nothing to suggest yet that France can get into this game, Alex. They've not launched an attack yet.
No, they've not started with the same enthusiasm which they started in France, but having said that, they're losing a lot of ball, and I think what they've got to do is play the 6 tackles, because you can't keep handing the ball over like they're doing, and especially in their own 25.
So France to kick off trailing by 6 points to 0, and yet to make an impact in attack. When they've had possession, it's been inside their own 22-metre area, and they've been giving it away. Well, that must have got the adrenaline for... Oh, now Caudle losing possession. This is the first time the French have been inside the Great Britain 22. Can they work up an attack? That's Valero to Boutignol.
It's the first time that France have really been on the attack, and it's interesting to see what they can do.
Onta whipping it out to Jacques Molinaire. Now it's Great Britain's turn to defend, and they push back Molinaire, and he's lost it. I don't think Mr. Stokes saw that. It was either a penalty or lost possession. This is the big man, Cabestany. Now, can these two big men, Cabestany and Dive, do something? A long one by Onta. Nicely stepped out by Molinaire to Delaunay. Guy Delaunay running beautifully. Oh, so close. This is the exciting stuff the French can turn on. Guy Delaunay, so close. The kick through by Onta. He was quick to dive on that. He could get 6 more there.
Yes, I think that was a lovely kick by Onta, and still France on attack here, and it'd be very, very interesting if they could score from this position.
Jean-Luc Rabot to Dumas. Dumas to the fullback who's up there. It's David Fraisse, but Mr. Stokes has seen something. Bit of crossing, perhaps.
Well, I think what he's given, obviously, I don't think David Fraisse is it. I cannot believe it. Mr. Stokes has given nothing in France, and they've come over here and getting the same kind of treatment. Have a look. It looks to me as though it was an obstruction. He took a man out of the game and used his own man to do it. I think we'll see it as we get the ball here. Fraisse is a lovely ball off Dumas again. David Fraisse in the line here. Now watch number 4 here. There's no question about it. It was an obstruction. I don't think it was deliberate.
No, but the Great Britain defenders stopped. They knew that Jim Stokes was going to blow his whistle. So I let off for Great Britain. That was a very promising attack by France, and good finishing by Fraisse, but he used his centre as a foil. Now Great Britain leading by 6 points to 0. It's Beardmore to Edwards to Steadman. Good running by Steadman, trying to find somebody inside. And that's Edwards getting it out into the second row to Carl Fairbank, who's a good strong runner. Knock on.
Dennis Betts, Keith. I think I'd like to see this lad running a little bit farther out. I think we use him in the wrong position. We use him as a prop forward, and really he's a very, very good second row running forward. That's where we should be using him, wider out.
So France have the benefit of head and ball, should get possession. They trail by 6 points to 0. One of those modern type scrums where the ball hardly reaches the hooker's feet. Oh, what a dreadful knock-on, really. That was Guy Delaunay. That was a simple pass by Ratier. He took his eye off the ball, and it sets Britain up again through Gregory. That must be very frustrating for France when Ratier puts out quite a straightforward pass and it's knocked on.
And again, Keith, they've put it down in a very, very dangerous position because they're in their own 25, and they can't keep giving Great Britain chances like this in their own 25 metres area.
It's Great Britain with Edwards to this big man, Kelvin Skerrett. Can they move it out fast? It's England getting it back. Fairbank, storming attack. Schofield to Beardmore, to Edwards, to Betts. Betts to Tate, and Tate's under the post, and that's Great Britain's second try.
And that's what we was just talking about, where Dennis Betts should be used. A beautiful ball off Sean Edwards to Dennis Betts, who's a strong lad. Once he had his arms free, Alan Tate in support, the simplest of tries.
And while one can enthuse over the quality of this try, it's beginning to look as if it's another French away day, Alex.
Well, look at the ball here off Sean Edwards. Now look at Betts. Now that's where he's best at. He's a strong lad. Once he gets his upper body off here, there's no problem. And Alan Tate's just as strong. That's a try, and a good try.
10 points to 0 for Great Britain. Another look at it. And again,
it's the ball of Sean Edwards, though, isn't it, Keith? Here, you know, it's a lovely ball, and Dennis Betts, you know, burst through Bourguignon, and I don't think they'll be too pleased about that. Alan Tate, good support, simple try.
Question marks again against the French defence, which was so tight and so good in Perpignan. Alan Tate of witness. A lot of people doubted his right to the #1 position. He was under challenge from people like Steve Hampson and even Paul Loughlin, but I think he's made it his own now, Alex.
Yes, I think he's probably the best full-back certainly the best attacking full-back in Great Britain. He's good running with the ball, he's good coming forward, and I think he's only been in the game 12 months, so he's done very, very well.
The goal was kicked. It's 12-0 to Great Britain. So already France up against it, but both tries came ultimately from lost possession. It was Delaunay who dropped Ratier's pass that started that attack up.
Well, we can see it as we have Brian Smith's pencil working here. I don't know what he does. He's miles away from the play here. You know, it just looks like a spider's running all over the field to me. You know, I think what we really do is keep our eye on the ball, and the ball should tell you everything what's going on. I noticed the pencil has gone missing. Maybe it's confusing everybody who's watching it. Simple try, simple passing.
And 10-0 at that point by Alan Tate. Stedman kicked the goal. Now France, they must get back into it. They must get some points on the board. That's prop forward Jean-Luc Rabot, his fellow prop Thierry Boutignol. But again the ball goes loose, but fortunately it's retrieved. France needing a try. They really need to get back into this. That's Molinaire. He's a good strong runner. The French always happiest when they're running with the ball. Valero moving it out to Dumas. Dumas, nice kick, but Caudle waited then and knocked on, but play on, says, with 6 more tackles, says Mr. Stokes. Gerald Caudle's inexperience catching him out there. He didn't go for the ball first time and knocked on. And here's the big winger, Cyril Pons, almost struggling over. France now just 5 meters away from the Great Britain line, trailing by 12 points to 0. Well, that was a floating ball, but he got there, and unfortunate for Jean-Luc Rabot, he couldn't unload, but they still have the advantage with Dumas looking for someone to unload too. A short pass to Molinaire, but it's gone loose again. Dumas picks it up, but they can't let that go.
And again, bad angling. You know, France have done everything right. They've got to the goal scoring line, and again, when the try line inside, they put the ball down. They've been doing this regular. They did it in France and in the club games. As soon as they get near the line, they don't want to put the ball over the line. And you can see, obviously, these are the errors in the French game. That's Great Britain with a 3, and that's a 17 for France, and that just shows you.
Yes, the missed tackles proving conclusive. Martin afire. And the minutes in possession, I think
Great Britain's had the ball for 6.57 and 4.32 by France. That's just 2 minutes longer.
It has been, I think, fairly obvious from the amount of time that France have... Well, Jacques Jourda must be a pretty sick man at the moment. He's not going according to plan.
I don't think everything he's saying is definitely going to be French, is it? That looked a slightly forward pass to me.
Did indeed. Quite clearly. So a scrum with the advantage to France. Just over 20 minutes gone in the first half. And it's Great Britain 12, France 0. So a comeback required. Molinaire running well. the trouble with the French is, Alex, they try to unload the ball sometimes when it's just not on.
Well, I think what they need to do, Keith, is to score a try. I mean, I think you'll see a different French side if they just get over the whitewash. But they're losing the ball in very, very bad attacking position. They've got to score from these positions.
Boutignon, that was a nice move. Ontar, he better hold on. This is the best spell. That's Valero to Molinaire. Couldn't get it out. Good tackle by Gregory. But a good spell on attack by France. Valero. Ontar to Dumas. Dumas, good dummy. What a good dummy. Now can he get his man in? Pons. Oh, what a good try, Alec. Carved out by Dumas for Pons. An excellent try.
I just watch Dumas and watch Pons. He's a very strong lad. He's a great winger, this lad. What a great character. Just watch his face. Happy about that, isn't he? Lovely little smile. And the try again. He's a big, strong lad. No problem when Dumas has the ball. Dumas the architect, as you can see it again. Dumas takes a man. Looked a little bit of obstruction here, but never again. Looked as though he took a man out there, but again, play to the whistle. Dumas, long ball to Pons, and he doesn't miss chances like that.
He ran extremely well, although I think there is a case for saying that the left centre, Denis Bien, certainly could have caused... He took out 2 tacklers.
Well, I think what happened, he was he actually went and put his hands up, and I don't think you can be off.
It doesn't make him disappear, though.
No, it didn't. It was a little bit confusing for the Great Britain attackers, but that was a lovely try for France. They needed that kind of a score, and it'll be interesting now if we can see Dumas put the icing on the cake by kicking the goal.
Oh, it's a difficult one for him. He missed the easy one. Let's see it again now. We've got that little arrow floating around.
That's him here. We've got it. The spider's back. He's right. Here. We've got it here. I think whoever's I don't know whoever's doing this. I think he's been on the beer. I'm not sure about it, you know. But Dumas definitely looked to me as though it was an obstruction. But play to the whistle in this game. A lovely ball.
Yeah, actually, the arrow's helping us to identify who's got the ball.
Well, I think we can identify Pons. We don't need an adder to do it, Keith, surely.
Dumas then carving out the try for Cyril Pons. And a good goal by Dumas. That's 12 points to 6. Well, France back in it, you said, Alex, if they wanted to score a try and they got one, they'd be back in the game.
Yes, and that not only the try, but obviously it was a very, very good goal, and we've just been saying and having some doubt about Dumas kicking.
Oh, dear me.
There again, just look what happens when they've just scored a try.
And I'm afraid the crowd letting him know what they think about it. Poor Patrick Ontar, knock on your own line, because, Alex, what could happen here? A quick heel by Great Britain, they'll be over, and France's try will be wasted. Well, it's Sean Edwards dive to get that.
I think
Gregory
after the wicket, obviously he's tackled.
Schofield now. The tacklers again buying the dummy. A fire, but Ontar may be made to pay dearly for that simple error. Edwards to Stedman, to Skerrett, looking for somebody, finds Gregory. Gregory to a fire going, looking for space, doesn't find it. The French having to tackle hard to cover up that mistake.
Yes, I think the French are defending very, very well here. You know, Great Britain have put them under a bit of pressure, and there again, you see, we have a drop ball, so that's good tackling by the French.
And they've got possession, so Patrick Ontar can breathe again, because another try then would have wiped out all the good work that France have done in getting Pons over, and that super goal from the touchline by Dumas.
I don't think the French are really out of this game, Keith. They look to me as though when they've got the ball in their hands, they're just as capable of scoring as Great Britain are. The problem is they're not holding the ball long enough.
Yeah, just over their own 22-metre line. Dumas, well, that's a short one, that he was always going to be tackled. But that's when you expect your big fellas to get you out of trouble, Alec.
Yes, I think the French forward should be checking that ball, not fresh. And this is the thing we've not seen from the French side. They've got a very, very good kicking game. As you can see here, that was a prop forward who put that ball into touch. And that's what they did well in Perpignan.
In fact, he's a lad you're interested in, Daniel Divé, Alex.
Yes, he is. That's a nice advertisement, Keith, isn't it, on the front of the jersey? Jiffy. I wonder, does he mean I'll be back in a jiffy, or I'll come in a jiffy? I'm not quite sure about that.
Well, there's the ball being put in for Great Britain. Escoffier, ooh, an elaborate move, but the French were ready for it. It's Gerald Caudle. And Betts loses it out, but it goes back, fortunately, to Edwards, to Caudle, who's already marked his first international appearance with the first British try, 12-6. Well, walkie-talkie, Malcolm Reilly.
I think it's going back to our friends in Lancashire, and Malcolm really, he's not looking too happy, is he? He's not the most cheerful to guys. You know, I think they're winning 12-6. He knows that France is still back in this game.
He's a very serious-minded man, Malcolm. Very, very dedicated, and really thinks and worries about the game. And it's France through Onta. Molinaire to Onta. Oh, nice pass, but Pons got that round about the chin and dropped it, and that's been the story of the day for France. They've dropped so many passes.
I think you can see that France have probably put the ball down, must be 10, 13 times. You know, it's a lot of possession to be losing, especially, well, there you are, just as I speak. I think Phil Larder can read, statistician.
Although it would indicate there that Great Britain have made more handling errors than France, which surprises me. But then, what can't speak can't lie. And it's France in possession again, inside their own 22-metre area. France, can they rule with faith? And yet another dicey pass, and another. They do throw it foolishly at times. There's no need to throw such silly passes out under pressure.
And look where they threw it out again, in their own 25-metre from the line. You know, it's really suicidal, this, and maybe they like throwing caution to the wind, French.
Well, they have that reputation for playing exciting rugby and taking risks, and they've taken far too many. That's why they trail 12 points to 6. It's Steadman and Edwards. That's a much better short ball to Betts. Much quicker, much better timed. Dennis Betts, Edwards, Steadman again. Steadman the short kick through, a fire chasing it, and Gibson, well, that was close. Gibson might have got to that.
I think he's given a 25-yard tap. I think the Fresh was always had it under control, but having said that, it was a very, very good kick from Steadman, and almost resulting in a try. And the French, who are now back in the game, well, you know the strains and stresses of a coach, Ali. I suppose you're worried all the way through the 80 minutes, aren't you, really? Yeah, I think he'll be pleased that he'll not be pleased at putting too many passes down, but he'll be pleased that it's only 12-6. It could be a lot more, and France, I think, is still in this game.
Oh, that's a lovely break by Molinaire. He's looking, come on, he wants somebody. It's Valero, Divet. Oh, good handling. This is lovely stuff. This is Onta again. Valero, exciting stuff, and the Headingley crowd rising to them. The best move of the game so far. Superb backing up. And what chance of a penalty?
Well, not only that, Keith, I mean, that really deserved a try. That was rugby at the very, very best, and even the British crowd really appreciated that. That was magnificent football, good support play, everything what's good for rugby league.
And they may get some reward from it with a penalty goal. And it's David Fress who's taken over from Dumas.
Well, I can't believe this. Dumas just kicked a goal off the touch, which was a magnificent goal. Fress missed. Now, this is the break here, Keith. This is an absolutely magnificent rugby at the highest level. Support play, good backing up. This is what it's all about. Look at that. That is absolutely superb. Lovely ball inside here, no problem. You think the ball, never let the ball die, and this is what everybody likes seeing. This is absolutely rugby out of the top draw.
Yes, Thierry Valero was in that twice, and so was Patrick Onta. Now, can this kick come to make it 12-8? David Fress. Indeed, so that's a little better.
Well, I think what they've said now, I did say that the French weren't out of this game, and they look to me as though they've got a little bit of pace on the flanks and using the ball out wide. One or two of the forwards look as though they can run also, and another try at this time would really put them back in the game.
Well, if they can get those handling errors in defence out of this, the second half could be very, very interesting.
Yes, because I do think when they came over here and fancied the chances of winning this one. And I don't think Great Britain can be too complacent. I think the French coach is looking a little bit happier, but you can never tell with that face, could you?
Great Britain kick off. They lead by 12 points to 8. Tries by Caudle and Tate against one by Pons. Both sides have kicked a couple of goals. France back into it now. Big Daniel Dive, and he was trying to unload. He had 3 men with him, domiciled in Sydney.
This is the lad I'm interested in to sign at Leek, Keith. He's a very, very big lad, and he's also a good pair of hands and got tremendous pace.
And France now showing much more confidence as we get close to half-time. It's France now, Dumas with the kick. What a beauty too. It'd probably be head of ball to Great Britain, but it's a lovely long kick.
Well, I think that's what he did in France, Keith, isn't he? He's got a magnificent kicking game, this fella, and he really peppered Great Britain in Perpignan, and I think he's doing the same all over again.
It's Great Britain with the feed coming out to Sean Edwards, to Graham Steadman, to Alan Tate, the fullback, but the tackling's good. If France can hold on for these closing seconds and go in at half-time only 12-8 down instead of 12-0, then they'll look reasonably happy at the prospects for the second half.
I think the French, Keith, really are doing more attacking than the Great Britain lads. I think they're running more with the ball and playing more rugby. We seem to be playing more down the middle than the French.
That's a nice kick by Sean Edwards. Big responsibility on Sean's shoulders, captaining the side in place of Harry Hattie. There's the hooter. So at half-time, it's Great Britain 12, France 8. Caudle getting the first try, Steadman kicking the goal, that was 6-0. Then Alan Tate went in for the second try. Steadman landed the goal, that was 12-0. But the last 10 minutes before half-time belonged to France. They got a try made by Ontard and Dumas for Pons. Dumas kicked a marvellous goal from the touchline, and then a penalty kicked by Fraisse. Alec, just a very quick word. Do you think France might do it in the second half?
I think the second half will be a cracking half, and I think France is still back in this match.
Well, we'll relive the highlights and then come back to the second half. Malcolm Reilly back here at Headingley having a word. What do you think he might be saying? What would you be saying, Alex, if you were in his position?
I'll tell you what, he doesn't look too happy, and there's some serious looking lads in that dressing room, and I think it's very, very important because I think they've got a battle on the hands.
Well, we're going to see the highlights of the first half. It produced 3 tries, 2 to Great Britain and 1 to France.
Well, I think what we've got here, Keith, is obviously the French try, and this is where they put a lot of pressure in the game. Great Britain 2 tries, and there is the first penalty, obviously, for I think that was the Bradford Northern lad.
That's a miss, wasn't it?
Yes,
really?
it was
A simple miss.
Well, I think it was a bad miss. It wasn't that he missed a goal. It was where it was from. This was a very, very important kick, and I think goal kickers of this calibre should really kick them.
Yes, when you consider that in hindsight, had we kicked that, it would have been 12-10, but then ifs and buts played no part. But there's one of the many mistakes in defence by France.
Yes, I think what they did, obviously losing the ball quite a lot in the early stages. But then again, you see, Dumas is caught offside, and I don't think Steadman will make any mistake with kicks like this.
Making France pay for it, a very similar position to the position in which Dumas found himself for the kick he missed. And Steadman, playing in his first international match, gets some points on the board, which is always nice. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, in front of the post. No mistake, that's 2-0 to Great Britain. And then, of course, we got another Test debutant scoring a try in Gerald Caudle.
I think what we've got to look for here, Keith, is obviously the quick hands, and you see we have another penalty here again for snatching the ball out of the hands, and this was a penalty where I thought that Graham Steadman could have kicked. Actually, you know, it's a simple kick. It's not a very difficult. He's not too far out, and these are the kicks in international football you really should put over.
Just a little wider than Steadman's previous attempt. Pulls it wide of the upright, so it remains 2-0, and a very disappointed Graham Steadman saying, as you made the point at the time, but this is a good try. Well, no, this is one that's disallowed. Yes, Alan Tate.
This was very close, actually. I said it was a forward pass, and I think he's given a forward pass because it was a straight ball, and the referee was right onto the spot. If you notice, Alan Tate didn't complain. He wasn't saying it wasn't a try, and we'll just judge from here. It was very close, this. It looked to me as though it was straight, and if it's a straight, it's a forward pass, and I think the referee were dead right.
Alan Tate taking it well. Now this Edwards pass does set up the try.
Well, this is the try, and a beautiful ball, and this is Caudle. He'll treasure this for a long time. That took some scoring, Keith, and he did it well.
Very big man, and went over in the corner well. Only brought into the side on Friday morning, but what a wonderful moment for him.
I think what we've got to look at is the size of this fella. He's a very wide guy, but look at the ball here. Lovely hands, good ball from Kevin Beardsmore, a beautiful ball from Shaun Edwards. There's no problem about this. 35 yards. Steadman just lays it off. Now Schofield has got to time the pass to perfection. Does it well. Caudle on the burst, goes past Pons. Good try.
How he kept out of touch, I don't know. He was very close to it.
Strong lads can do that.
The kick by Steadman. Missed it, and at that stage it was Great Britain well on top.
And I think again here we have Shaun Edwards serving to his club mate Dennis Betts. Beautiful support play by Alan Tate, and it's all about knowing where your mate's going to be and what the end result's going to be, and I think Edwards, Betts and Tate did that to perfection. Making
it with the kick to come, 10-0, and at this stage France looking extremely down and making a lot of mistakes. We're going to see that move again.
It's again though, isn't it? It's quick hands, Keith. It's about this. Shaun Edwards, Dennis Betts running from deep, strong lad, upper body strength, very strong up there. Alan Tate, good support, simple try.
10-0 to Great Britain, as Mr. Stokes saying it's the sixth and final tackle, and normally the tendency is to kick on that one.
Yeah, well, I think for once Great Britain did right. They ran with the ball, and you know, as long as you run with the ball, you've always a chance of scoring.
Certainly paid off there. Alan Tate proudly walking back.
I think this one, Keith, is more important, isn't it? I think this is the one where Dumas, lovely pair of hands, this fella, settled Pons, lovely ball out there, and Pons does it well.
The crowd applauding that. Some suggestion that the left centre, Dennis Biens, might have taken two defenders out, and I think Gerald Caudle was saying so.
Well, I think you must always play to the whistle, and personally, you know, there might have been a little bit of obstruction there or thereabouts. Just watch it as the goal ball. The main man here is Pons. Dumas has the ball. Now watch, the centre comes in there, but I don't think he actually took Dumas out or anybody else. Lovely ball to Pons. Crashes in at the corner.
And Dumas was to kick a marvellous goal from the touchline after a swig of water. And then we had some lovely rugby by France. Deservedly, they got some more points on the board with a penalty from David Fress, who took over from Dumas.
Yes, and he kicks this one, and that's what France needed. They're back in the game, and the second half should be very interesting.
So, it's 12-8. We're back live at Headingley now. Half-time score. Great Britain 12, France 8. So all set for a good second half, and if France can maintain the momentum and the cohesion they were showing just before half-time, Great Britain struggle, Alex?
Yes, I think that France can be pleased with their efforts in the first half. I think they've dropped a few balls which they know they shouldn't have dropped, but their attacking play has been good. I'd like to see a little bit more coming from Great Britain. I think we're playing too much down the middle. I don't think we're giving the wingmen much chance to run with the ball, and I think really Graham Steadman has got to come more into the game.
Well, there's no doubt that Malcolm Reilly will have said words to that effect strongly in the dressing room. And we can expect more sharpness in the Great Britain play in the second half.
I think what we've got to start doing, Keith, is moving the ball out wider, because the French are tackling very, very well. The discipline is a lot better. They're going to Australia this year, and I think they'll do all right over there. They got annihilated when they went last time. I think with the discipline and the players they've got now, they'll not do bad.
Great Britain, of course, they're preparing for a trip to Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. They want to do well in that to prepare for the Australians later in the year.
And not only that, Keith, we also have the tour side being selected on Wednesday, and some of these young fellas here, some of the young guns, are looking for a big display here to get themselves on the trip to Papua New Guinea and New Zealand.
There's the French side under their coach Jacques Jourda. 12-8 at half-time, all on the second half. Great Britain anxious to win a convincing victory. Referee Jim Stokes. And the ball close to the French line. So Great Britain looking for a score which will pull them away again after the shocks they sustained just before half-time. Edwards again, the long floated pass. Steadman. Beardmore. Edwards reversing direction to Gregory, and Gregory slips.
And I'm listening to the crowd, Keith. You know, they're not very happy about this. You know, they'd sooner see the ball moved out wide, and there again we have
ball dropped, but behind to Gregory. So the attack continues. Ooh, that was a powerful tackle. And Dumas doing an awful amount of tackling. And that's England, very close to line, Great Britain. They want an early score in this second half. Beardmore, Skerrett, Edwards. Molyneux gets in the tackle. Beardmore. Steadman, the short ball to Gregory. Mr. Stokes making absolutely sure he's allowed to get up and play the ball. Edwards floats up the long one to Steadman. Gibson almost in at the corner, but thrust back on the last tackle coming up. Gibson in. Will one of the forwards try to blast over Skerrett? Oh, Sean Edwards kicks through, and it's fielded. So the French, well, they get out of one tough situation, Alex.
Yes, I think the good defensive work by France then. I would like to see Sean Edwards. He's in every move, but he's not running quite enough with the ball. I think he's laying the ball off to people to run with the ball, but I think he'd be better, surely, running through one or two of these gaps.
It's France who, well, if you're on Screen Sport, it's Keith Macklin and Alex Murphy. And it's Great Britain with Dennis Betts. Great Britain again into the attack with England. Phil Larder is the man who controls all the statistical data. Oh, this could be a chance. Oh, a knock on by Tate.
Well, I certainly we can say, Keith, that was a chance missed, because that was a beautiful break and an absolutely super ball to Tate, and all he had to do was catch it, and that's got to be a chance missed.
Yes, Alan Tate, who scored a good try. And now here come France. They've had to defend in these opening minutes of the second half. They could have conceded a try to Alan Tate then. Daniel Vivet. They've shown what they can do. Great Britain's half, what can they do from their own? Just on the 22-metre line.
I think really, Keith, that Great Britain have got to keep France in this 25-yard line, because they're very, very vulnerable in these places.
Oh, what an awful pass by Dumas. He does take a lot of risks. Dumas throws some careless passes. He's getting ticked off by Molyneux.
Well, I think what he's saying is, you know, we're in our 25. You should not be putting balls out like that. And Dumas, but again, was a little bit lucky that he wasn't done for obstruction, because he took a man out the game again.
Coming out on the Great Britain side, so another attack as Martin Offiah looking for the touchline, can't get past Storm Tower. Cuts inside, but no room there. The crowd, as you say, getting a bit restive. Alex, they want more from Great Britain.
Well, I think what they want is a little bit more football. I think all we're seeing is one-man rugby, you know, forwards just driving the ball in. I think we've got better back play than what we're getting here.
Stedman, Schofield, Tate's dropped it the second successive time. Well, Alan Tate, after a marvellous first half, has dropped his last 2 passes.
Well, I think why Alan Tate is dropping the ball, he's obviously coming too flat onto the ball, and he's trying to pinch a yard, and I don't think he needs to do that. I think he's got to run from a deeper position and keep his eye on the ball, because they're too bad missing what he's just put down.
Waiting for the pack to go down. That's Ontar. That's not a particularly... Whoa, gosh, he only just held on to that. That was Dennis Bien. Some of these passes being thrown in the 22-metre area, suicidal.
Well, I think they live dangerously, these Frenchmen, and they believe in taking chances. Maybe this is the only way they can play rugby, and when it comes off, it looks brilliant, and when it doesn't come off, it looks very bad.
Jacques Jourda will have wound them up just as Malcolm really wound his own side up. We'll see what they can do when they get in the Great Britain half, which they haven't done in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. They've been under pressure. Dumas. Bouncing kindly for Alan Tate, who picks it up. But at least France have a foothold, even a defensive one, in the British half.
Well, I think that was a good line for France, Steve, a good kick, and obviously a good line by France. A lot more discipline, this French side, than what they've been for a long, long time.
They trail by 12 points to 8, France. Here's Edwards now. Edwards trying for one of those little jinking runs, but he's brought down. Good tackling by France. Not giving Great Britain room. There's Stedman with the kick. Drives back Fraisse, who this time picks it up, but again runs to the touchline. That's the second time Fraisse has tried the touchline route, and I think he's getting a real roasting, because if you want to play 6 tackles, you don't run into touch.
No, you don't run into touch on the first tackle, and like I said, Gerald Cordell is a very, very strong lad, and he just dragged Fraisse across the field as though he wasn't like a piece of paper, just whipped him across the field.
So a tactical error by David Fraisse gives possession to France, and here's Carl Gibson. Still going, running strongly, he's lost it. It's Dumas' ball if he can get his hand on it. Carl Gibson spoiling that strong run by losing possession. France have it, Great Britain lead by 12 points to 8. France just over their own 22-metre area. Haven't had a chance yet to run the ball in the Great Britain half. Forwards trying to crash their way through, gain a bit of ground, set up an opening. It was Jean-Luc Grabot. Ooh, that was one heck of a tackle. Really cracked him.
I'll tell you what, Keith, he really felt that. And that was Dennis Betts who did the tackle, Keith, and that was a beautiful kick from Dumas, but the tackle from Dennis Betts on Cabestany, here he is, and he must have shook every bone in his body.
Yes,
watch
real crack.
Just watch as he comes in here. He just times it to perfection. Bang!
In fact, both shoulders straight in.
I think he must have felt that back in France.
Cabestany must have felt as if he'd run into an express train.
And that's very, very powerful stuff he's got under his nose, Keith, there, and he's not budging, so you can tell how hard that tackle was.
Inside the Great Britain 22-metre area, Martin Offiah trying to slip his way through, but can't. The Great Britain bench.
Nice natty line in tracksuits there, the doctor and the physio sat on the bench. I think they'd much sooner see Great Britain score a try in this moment in time.
Great Britain leading by 12 points to 8, but Nothing in it at the moment in the first 10 minutes of the second half. There's the long ball by Edwards, using it a lot. Gibson takes it at the second attempt, out to a fire. Shaun Edwards certainly trying the long pass to some effect. At least one try has come from it.
I think what we need from Shaun Edwards, Keith, is a little bit more going forward with the ball. I think he's laying the ball across to the line all right, but there's nobody running with it.
He's a strong runner in Cyril Pons. What a good, strong run. He's a powerful lad.
We have said about Pons,
that could be an offside decision again. Yes, indeed. Now, can we reduce the margin to 12-10? Because France will surely kick a goal.
Well, normally you would say they would kick a goal, but, you know, this is French, and, you know, sometimes they don't do what everybody expects them to do, but I'm sure in this position they should be kicking for goal.
And David Fress, who landed the one just before half-time, is the man entrusted with the kick. Fairly straight, slightly longer range. But what a finish this would open up if he landed it.
Well, I think this is a very, very important kick, because the nearer France get to the Great Britain score, it will make them more determined, and to me, they look the better side when they're running forward with the ball.
David Fress. Straight. Mike Gregory doing a little mind there. Is that an off-putting posture near the post?
Well, I think what he does is, this is a professional attitude where he looks at the post, half looks at the man, and you know, he kind of does a little bit of a war dance. I think this fella will do a war dance if France kick this goal.
He wants this one to go over, Jacques Jourda. He needs it to go over. David Fress kicks, looks true. 12-10.
And that's really put France back in the game, and I think allez, there's no problem what's going on here, and he's even getting a little bit excited now.
And David Fress may have had his coach's heart in his mouth several times in defence, has kicked 2 vital goals, so it's tight, it's close. Great Britain at one stage led 12 points to 0. Now they're being made to fight. I thought he was going to drop that. Patrick Contau did make a bad handling mistake early on, but that'll be forgotten now. Valero, Onta, Dumas, waiting for Pons, a good dummy, Delaunay to Pons, Pons going inside, strongly running again, good stuff, he's going himself. Oh, that's a good tackle, but it's inside. This is a try, a super French try. Jean-Luc Rabot, and the French going wild. What a marvellous run by Pons, and no one was there to take the inside pass except Jean-Luc Rabot, and the French are going crackers.
Well, what did we say? Now there's a smile there. Now, come on, look at this. This is worth £1 million. Isn't that nice? Robbo's very, very happy about that. And this was a magnificent try. I've said all along about Cyril. I think believe he's crying. I cannot believe that's a Frenchman crying. Well, would you believe it? Well, I wouldn't like him to score another try, Keith.
It means a lot, Alec. They've been in the international wilderness for so long. They've not won in Britain for 23 years. They've had 50 points put against them twice in Britain, and this could be just the revival. Well, let's see this Pons break and Jean-Luc Rabot's finish.
Well, have a look at Pons. A lovely ball again off Dumais. Now, Pons, Cyril Pons, a very, very, very strong lad. When he gets the ball here, there's 2-3 men in front. He's nowhere where he's going to go, but once he starts going, he just brushes Caudle aside, and that's bad tackling, by the way. But again, he has confidence in himself. He waits, he hangs on till the perfect time for the perfect pass, and Robbo any moment will be appearing on the scene. A lovely ball, here he comes. He cannot believe this. Look at this, my kind of try, and what a very important one.
Well, as always in these situations, you can try to fault the defence. Certainly Alan Tate did his job by nailing Pons, but nobody was there to pick up Rabot. And the vital kick from the touchline. Oh, what a good one! Well, if Jacques Jourda cried about the try, what's he going to do now? David Fress, hero of the hour, alongside Cyril Pons. and even the British supporters are applauding.
Well, maybe this is what has been needed, because this is the try, and this is a lovely ball here again from Dumas. What's Cyril Pons here? A nice dummy and a lovely ball from the centre, but Pons has a lot of work to do here. He just flips inside. Watch Gerald Cordon's tackle here. He'll not be very happy about that. That is a rugby union tackle. That is definitely no rugby league tackle.
I
but
noticed
again,
how Dumas put Sean Edwards out, though, there quite cleverly.
Well, that's what this game's all about. You do what you can get away with, but a lovely ball by Pons. He holds the ball. Robbo in support and says, oh, I like this. I'm going to enjoy this. Dennis Betts coming across, but a little too late.
Well, that's just the try that the French needed, and now it's all up to Great Britain. We'll see the mettle of Great Britain. We must remember that Great Britain today are playing without Ellery Hanley and Andy Goodway and Andy Gregory and Joe Lydon, Paul Loughlin, all mature and experienced internationals, but let's not take too much away from the French.
Well, we have said, Keith, haven't we, really, when France have got the ball, and I did say that Sean Edwards is better when he's going forward with the ball, but really the French have looked a lot more exciting when they've been coming forward with the ball, made one or two mistakes in defence, but really playing well.
And Great Britain making a substitution, which shows that Malcolm really realises that the setup is not quite what he wants it to be, but surely Great Britain will raise their game now.
I think what we're going to need, obviously now, Keith, is a reply from Great Britain, because France is certainly cock-a-hoop at the moment. They're tackling well, and that try of Robbo was certainly giving them the enthusiasm they need.
It's Beardmore. Steadman, that bounces awkwardly. Anybody's ball. Great Britain possession, says Mr. Stokes. No knock on. Beardmore to Edwards. Edwards the long one. Caudle takes it. Can Gerald Caudle use his strength? He's thrown into touch.
I think what Cyril Pons is saying, anything you can do, Gerald, I can do. And he's a very, very strong lad, this Pons. We've looked at him all season. He's had a very, very good season in the French League, and he's certainly having a great game. And this fella also must be very pleased with his debut in this game, because it's his first match, and I think he might be being substituted.
He got a try, but his defence was caught napping. Sean Irwin has already come on as sub.
Well, I cannot believe that substitution for the life of me. I can't understand how you can take a wingman off and bring a bloke on who's certainly not got half as much pace as the lad who's gone off.
Sean Irwin has played at under 21 level for Great Britain. He normally plays centre. And perhaps it's, as we say, it's Gerald Caudle's defence that has let him down once or twice in his positional play.
Well, I wouldn't argue about that, Keith, but I still believe that the try wasn't down to Caudle alone. And where was the Great Britain covering? There was only Sean Edwards and Alan Tate back there. And I think if you're going to blame people, I think you don't just take it out on one man.
And it's Great Britain with Gary Schofield. The centres have not been able to penetrate much. Steadman, and that's a penalty to Great Britain. Now, are they going to kick at goal to reduce the gap to 2 points, or will they run it?
And this will show the captaincy of Sean Edwards. Now, I don't think
the crowd want them to run it.
No, I don't think the crowd will be too happy about this, because if he misses it, he's a villain. If he kicked it, well, the crowd expected a try, and it's one of them situations where you can't win.
Graham Steadman needs a cool head. One of the first caps. Always a tough moment. It's like being a test batsman. If you go in and make 100, you're a hero. If you make a duck, you're a villain. And Steadman's got to kick this. Well, he kicked it. That's pretty cool enough. So just 2 points in it. It's Great Britain 14, France 16, and that could be just the stir that Great Britain need.
Yeah, I think what Great Britain need to do is just settle down a little bit. I think they're tending to panic. I think the try that France scored, it caused a little bit of havoc in the Great Britain ranks, and they've done a bit of team changes, because David Bishop looks to me as though he's gone in the pack. Sean Edwards obviously is still playing scrum half and Steadman, and David Bishop looks as though he's gone in the pack.
Well, Kelvin Skerritt was the man who came off, who's a front row forward, so Malcolm Wheatley must have had... Oh, he's lost it! That's Bishop who lost it. That's Divet. The French moving it out wide. Bien. Onta. Dumas. Divet. This big, strong lad. Inside the Great Britain 22-metre area. Fraisse. Driven back. Good tackle by Fairbank. David Bress, I think, felt that. He plays the ball somewhat slowly and painfully. Dumas again. He does use men off the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I think
Alex?
what happens, he takes the man as he's running through. It looks as though it's an obstruction, but obviously Mr. Steele doesn't think so.
That's Kabastani. Dumas drop. He's done it. Well, that could be useful.
Well, it was always going to be on the card, because one thing this little lad does have, he's got a great football brain, and he's got a great kick in either foot. That was a magnificent goal. There's no problem. As soon as the ball came back to him, what was going to happen?
And it means that Great Britain have to now score a try.
But just look at the kick, Keith. There's just no problem with this. Look at that, right over the back.
Beautiful
of the
one, isn't it?
He's done that so often in our Screen Sport matches this year. He's a very, very good player, and that might be a very important kick.
And the point you've made often, the discipline of the French side, they're tackling hard, but there's no nastiness, and they're getting their attacking game together.
Yes, I think certainly now they can sense victory, and this fella, who again is a strong lad, and he'll take some pulling down.
Yes, Cyril Pons of Saint-Gaudens, clubmate of Gilles Dumas. Surprising that Saint-Gaudens solo in the French Championship, because they're a lot of good players.
I'm just wondering, Keith, what would this do for the French rugby, you know, because they have been in the doldrums, you know, they've lost a lot of players to rugby union, and look at that for a kick again from Dumas.
Lovely ground gainer. By the laws of the game now, it would almost certainly come out on the Great Britain side with head and ball, but it's Jacques Jourda. Every minute's going to seem like an hour.
I've been in that position, Keith, and I understand how that feels, but he must be an happy man at the moment. He's seen some very, very good things on the French side.
Edwards to Steadman, to Irwin. A lot of players unused to top-flight international rugby in this Great Britain side, which of course is a problem.
Well, there is, and not only that, it's the method in where we're playing. You know, we're driving the ball in, and the French are tackling very, very well. We're not going to break them down, though. We must move this ball out to people like a fire.
They learned their lesson from the opening minutes when Caudle and Tate went in for tries. They really are making their tackles count now. Betts, he tries a kick. Fraisse letting it bounce very sensibly, because he's been losing one or two when he's gone for it first time. Well, there's no point in the... Noticeably, I think Jourda must have told him, stop throwing stupid passes out in your own 22-metre area.
Well, they've not lost as much ball in the second half, Keith, but I do believe that the French have got their act together a little bit better. They're running better.
Oh, Valero went through 3 tackles then. Thierry Valero. Gilles Dumas. The defence just wasn't there then. Valero must have wondered why that gap opened up for him. Fraisse looking for support, gets it out. Molinaire, Onta. Oh, if he'd passed, there might have been a try on, but it's still a possibility. The French showing such flair. Molinaire, and another one. It's Divet, Daniel Divet over. That's surely done it. Sean Edwards is talking to referee Jim Stokes. but it counts. Daniel Divé goes over.
Well, there will be a little bit of excitement.
Oh, and a smile on the face of Jacques Jourda. A smile cracks his face.
And I think there's a smile on Divé's face and all, because that try is well deserved. Some brilliant build-up work from the French, and really I think you've got to say, Keith, that the French are looking the better side. They're more exciting, and he's happy, isn't he? Hey? What a nice try that was. I think Patrick Divé is, yes, it's nice, isn't it? And here we have the try again. A lovely ball inside here, and Divé again, lovely little ball. Thank you very much.
There's an attempted tackle by Irwin, but Divé in.
But this is it again. This is a lovely approach play by the French. A beautiful ball from Fresh inside here. There's 5 men queuing up for this ball, and this is attractive rugby, isn't it? It's lovely football to watch.
In fact, if Ornta had given it there, that might have been a try to Rabot, a second one.
Well, yes, and I think it's the end result what matters here. I think what happens, a good quick play of the ball. There's men in support, and that's what it's all about, just a switch with a play of the ball. And here we have.
It's Boutignolle who put Divé over.
His second row mate, and I don't think he'll have any problem. He liked that, Patrick Divé. It's a nice try, and I don't think David Fresh will have any problem kicking this goal.
Well, if he lands this, it's 22-14. A long way for Great Britain to come back.
We were actually saying, Keith, what that'd do for French rugby, because really they have been down in the dumps, haven't they? They've been losing players left and right to rugby union. They've been signing them from rugby league, and I think this is just what the international scene needed, and especially this guy who's worked very, very hard with the French team. He's got a good discipline, and he's saying, look, there's
that's
10
the try.
minutes.
That's the moment of the try.
Well,
being
I think
scored.
what he's saying there, the champagne all round on me, lads. I'll get them in tonight.
Yes, let's not begrudge the French. They've had so many years in the rugby league wilderness. 3 years ago, it looked as if they'd pack up altogether. They were bankrupt. They were losing all their players to French rugby union. Now here they are coming back, and Jacques Jourda and Taz Baitieri, of course, must take a lot of the credit for that.
Well, there's a lot of people working hard in France, and the game is really not as bad as what people have thought it has been over there. And I think really we might have been a little bit complacent, and this might do Great Britain a little bit of good.
Yes, and of course we have to look at it from a Great Britain point of view also, and say yet again that Malcolm really had to change his team lineup drastically because of the injuries to Hanley, Goodway, Gregory, Lydon and Lachlan, all men of seasoned experience that will certainly be going to New Zealand and could be expected playing against Australia. A lot of new caps, a lot of young men unused to international rugby league, Alec, and they don't just fit in on one game, do they?
No, they don't, but it's going to be quite interesting now. We picked the test team for New Zealand on Wednesday, and we are going to have a few problems because I think Malcolm Really's got a few headaches before them.
Well, he appears to have one now, and not surprising. Roy Powell chatting to Malcolm Reilly, but of course he's put his 2 subs on. Martin Offia's not been given the freedom of the park. Edwards trying a dummy, and for once Sean sells the dummy and makes round. Now close to line. Great Britain needing to score twice. That's David Bishop. David Bishop trying to go through, finds Schofield. Gibson moved out to the right wing now. Can Great Britain get back into this game? There's still time for them to pick up. Oh, that was a nasty one. Is that going to be a penalty? No. Boutignole's tackle was regarded as fair, if painful. It was Kevin Beardmore who got a very painful crack. Offside. Now, will they run it and go for the try? Will Sean Edwards play quickly and run before the French can regather? He has it knocked out of his hands. A bit of gamemanship by Fres.
I think that's good. That's great. A professional play at the ice level. Sean Edwards look as though he had to tap the ball and knocked it out of his hands. But let's give credit to the French. They're tackling very, very well, Keith. And Great Britain really have not come up with a lot of ideas.
Well, the crowd are getting behind them now, as they should. The Headingley crowd. Beardmore to Edwards. Edwards a short ball to Fairbank. If the French survive this, they should be on course for a famous victory, a tide-turning victory, a watershed, whatever phrase you care to use. David Bishop and it was knocked down. Well, David Bishop almost carved out a try then.
And it really showed you how strong David Bishop is. Obviously, one man, he's a bit disappointed with that, isn't he? It was a good ball, and he's saying he should have took it, and it's quite right too. But he's one of these lads, he's a very, very strong, unorthodox scrum half, playing at loose forward, you know. That shows how strong and what a big lad he is.
Well, I remember years ago seeing him play loose forward in a rugby union side, so he can certainly play in various positions. He's a big lad. He was 15 stone at one stage with Hull Kingston Rovers last season.
That's right, kid. And I think I think that was a bad miss for Great Britain, because it's give the French the ball back, and you know, they're getting very confident, the French, and with Dumas in the side, I'm certain that he will be putting this ball deep down the field.
That's Jacques Moliner. The French leading by 23 points to 14. A Dumas drop goal, and then the try by Divey, and the goal by Fraisse, putting them well ahead.
I think that again was a bad kick by Dumas, Keith. He didn't do exactly what he wanted to do, and it was a charge down and put Great Britain on the attack again.
Mike Gregory. Good finish this by Great Britain. French substitute warming up. But the French, who conceded 2 tries early on, are giving nothing away now. Edwards to Stedman, to Edwards, a short one to Offiah. Martin Offiah, the speed merchant. Oh, is he in? Yeah. Is he in? Yes, he's given it, and that was a well-planned move, and it worked. And for the first time, Martin Offiah was allowed to use his speed. That puts Great Britain back in it.
Well, I think it certainly tried what was needed, and like I said, there's only people like Martin Offiah can score tries like this. A quick play of the ball again, and I think we'll find out that Shaun Edwards does the trick here. A lovely ball, the run-around move with Graham Stedman. Watch Shaun Edwards, here's Martin Offiah now. You've got to have pace to score tries like this. A good try, a lot of pace, took some scoring, and as he got pace, did well to get the ball over from here.
And had to turn over in the tackle. I think Jim Stokes was looking carefully whether he grounded the ball. But again, lovely turnaround move, run around between Stedman and Edwards. And it was Dennis Betts who was the decoy man.
Well, I think, look at the try, and it's good tackling again from France.
He's tackled on his back, but turns over. Oh, that kick was needed. But at least Great Britain are back in it now at 18-23.
Well, I think the most important thing now is to throw caution to the wind. Obviously, obviously France are going to tattle for the last 2 or 3 minutes, and here we have the try again here, and it's a run-around move, the simplest of moves here. Shaun Edwards, and a lovely ball off Martin Offiah. You've got to have class, you've got to have pace to score tries like this.
And that's an angle where, obscured by Pons, it's given Martin Offiah.
I think the referee, Keith, was right on the spot, wasn't he? He was very well positioned, and he could see from that angle that the ball was down.
Oh, knock on. Oh, dear, poor Carl Gibson. What a place to knock on when you're trying to make a comeback.
Well, I know how he feels. He obviously feels now they wish the ground would open up and swallow him, but it's a very, very bad position to lose the ball, and especially when you've just scored a try, and really this put France back in the driving seat.
Well, they should get the ball from this scrum. The way they've been playing, they'll go for a try. If a try doesn't work, they can go for a drop goal, which would give them a 6-point cushion.
And I think
penalty.
They've got better than that, Keith. I think they've got a penalty, because I think Great Britain moved off the mark. Now, this is a very important
Well, are we
decision.
going to have a bit of a time-wasting ploy? A kick at goal by Fraisse. No, they're got Divey. They're running it.
Well, they're either very confident or very silly, because really kicking a goal there would have wasted some time and still given possession back.
Bien. But they must feel they're strong enough to get a try. That's Rabot, who's already got one of the French tries. Onta. Moliner. Possession lost. And what's Mr. Stokes ruling? I think he's given a penalty.
I think what he said is that Kevin Beardmore took the ball out of his hands, and this is a definitely kick at goal. I don't think there's any doubt here, is there?
And if Fraisse kicks this, it will be a 7-point lead, which will mean that yet again Great Britain have to come back and score at least twice. Sean Edwards is arguing, Mike Gregory was doing some arguing, but the referee Jim Stokes won't change his mind.
No, it's no good arguing with this referee. He's a very, very good referee. He's a good professional referee, and I think really Sean Edwards is wrong to get in that situation. I think he's seen something that we've not seen. I'll tell you something, he might be walking somebody. He might be putting Sean Edwards off.
Has never stopped arguing since the decision was given, and he's the captain of Great Britain, and the captain of Great Britain is going to Simbid.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think he'll be very disappointed when he sees this on television. I don't think he's a lad like that. I think he's disappointed with the decision, but once the decision is made, he's got to abide by it, and that is, if he's going to lead Great Britain, he's got to learn to handle situations better than that.
Vital kick by David Fress. If he lands this, it's 25-18, and that could be just the last straw that breaks Great Britain's back. It will mean that they've got to get at least 2 scores. They've got to get a converted try and a score of some other kind to get level.
I think if he lands this, Keith, me and you are going to run round the dressing room, because I think the champagne corks will be popping.
Oh, what a coolly taken goal, and that could have done it, and David Fress knows that. David Fress is a very happy man.
How important is that? And not only that,
so Jacques Jourda, and it came at just the right time. That's it. That's it. A last-minute kick, and France have won on Great British soil for the first time in 23 years. Jacques Jourda is ecstatic, so is team. They're the heroes of the hour, and while those with Great Britain's affairs at heart will be sorry about this, there are excuses in that the team was so marked by injury. Let's take nothing away. Let's take nothing away from France, Alex.
Well, I think what you've got to say is what is this done for French Rugby League? And that's how proud they are. They'll be singing in the streets in France, they'll be dancing in the pubs tonight, and I'll tell you what, we're nipping round the dressing room, because I'm sure we'll get a glass of champagne or two.
But what they're going round, they've got quite a few supporters over here. They're running round like schoolboys. They're so happy. They came here, as so many other French sides have, expected to take a hammering. Gary Schofield, disappointed as he is, still willing to sign autographs. Malcolm Reilly, I suppose he'll be worried, but he'll take consolation in the fact that all his major players, like Ellery Hanley, the captain, Goodaway and others, have still to come back.
Well, I think we've got to say, Keith, honestly, I think that French have deserved the win. They've been the better side, and I think this will be good for Rugby League.
It will indeed. They were 12-0 down early in the game and couldn't get their game together. Their tackling was letting them down. They were dropping the ball in their own 22-metre, but they came back and eventually played some marvellous second-half football, particularly the tries from the forwards.